Don't miss out, bro. Don't miss out. Stay tuned for the rest of the show because we're talking about the conspiracy of silence, a little bit of JFK, and simulation theory stuff. What? Living where they can find you, bro.
And you're going to be on a list for listening to this one, by the way. Go to paranoidamerican.com. I'll teach you how to get off that list, or I'll teach you how to get to the top of the list. Because at least if you're going to be on a list, be at the top of the list.
Break through the list. That's fucking crazy.
Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
I promise you, this is not a political podcast.
Jump from the deep end of the pool, set up the mood. Paranoi Radio, set up the mood. Paranoi Radio, set up the mood. Paranoi Radio, set up the mood. 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 Set up the mood.
I was just telling Thomas right now that I have to keep it up. I have to keep up the name because if people look up for him, I might just pop out. So I got to stay relevant, guys. Testicles 1, 2, testicles. Welcome back to Paranoi Radio Podcast, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I want to thank the Lord for allowing me to be here today, and I want to thank every single one of you for allowing me to enter your space. And I also want to remind you that the best thing that you could do for the show today is word of mouth. Do not forget to check us out at paranoidradio.com. And if you guys have been contemplating or entertaining the idea of suicide, put your burden on somebody else. It only takes 10 more seconds of life to go to paranoi.com. There is a 24/7 lifeline button there. And if you don't want to talk to anybody that's, random, you can also check us out at Paranoi Radio on Instagram, and my number's directly associated. You don't have to listen to the show. You don't have to follow. All you got to do is put your burden on somebody else and belong. There's a brotherhood out there. And remember that June, Reclaiming the Rainbow, is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. Check out Cryptid Warfare Operations, guys, because those guys will give you the tools and guide you if you guys need to operate and hunt the hunter, Bigfoot, or any other critter outside. Be the critter killer. That's pretty cool. I just came up with that. And also make sure you check out Ali Christine. She's going to give you the tools that you need to make your kids healthy again, parasitic free. Check out Flavors of the Forest and season your meat before you eat. And drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcast and on Spotify. That allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. Now, the freaking Red Bull got me the anxiety, but I'm not stuttering anymore. Oh, yeah. I'm not promoting Red Bull, guys, but make sure you drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And jumping in from the deep end of the pool and setting the freaking mood, please give a warm welcome to my next special guest. He's been here before. He's a legend in the making. He knows the right people, and he's doing the right freaking moves. Please give a warm welcome to Thomas from Paranoid American. What's up?
I assume you're going to flow in like the audience applause sound effect in the background.
I'm not that good at all this audio stuff yet.
Hey, man, how's it going, man? It's awesome to talk to you again.
It's good, man. It's been good. It's been grimy out here. Before anything, Matt, shout outs to Speaking in Code, Drew. Code. His name is Code. Code. Mad love, dog. He's passionate about you and creating for everything. So he was texting me today, and I'm like, yo, bro, I'm gonna shout you out. So mad shout outs to Speaking in Code podcast. Those guys are getting busy out there. So make sure you don't sleep on them, guys. Anyway, Paranoid American, where can people find you?
Hey, and also shout out to Speaking in Code. Thank you so much. He's a homie. He's an OG. So yeah, people can find me at paranoidamerican.com, and then on all the social media networks, it should be at Paranoid American, except for Twitter. They don't let you get that last letter in, so it's just Paranoid America. So, but you can call me whatever you want.
What? You can't put the N behind it?
Nah, bro. They shorted you just that one extra letter.
Can you put a Paranoid American 1?
No, I'm saying like you run out of space. It cuts you off at Paranoid America. There's no more room for anything else. So I guess I'm both now. I'm Paranoid American, and I'm just Paranoid America in general, which it makes me feel bigger, right? Like I'm the whole country.
It makes me feel retarded that paranoia on mine doesn't have the D. So that's how you know you can find me, guys. There's no D in paranoia. Oh, man. What's up, bro? Hey, thanks again for being on the show, bro. It's a humbling pleasure. Always good to talk to you. And I see you're working. And I'm jump into it, bro. You have a new series on your show called Under the Docks? Whoa.
Yeah, Under the Docks.
Sounds creepy.
Because I've been doing Occult Disney for the last 2 years now, where we go and we rewatch all the Disney theatrical length animations. And then I had a show that I still do with Tommy Truthful at Truth Mafia called Conspiracy Cinema, where we talk about movie decodes and stuff. And I would just
That's hot.
realize that so much of my media consumption growing up and over the last couple decades is way more about watching documentaries and not really movies and TV as much. And that documentaries in particular is probably where I got all my conspiracy knowledge growing up. It was watching David Icke and Alex Jones and Zeitgeist and, all these different documentaries. And I just didn't see a lot of other people laser focusing on just documentaries. So there it is. There was born. And then the biggest rule, which I mean, you've been doing podcasts for a minute now too. The biggest thing that I've been trying to do is that if we review a 30-minute show, like we shouldn't talk about it for more than 30 minutes. Like usually the review should be not as long as the thing that you're reviewing. So the goal for a lot of these Under the Docs is to take a 3.5 hour documentary and try and summarize it in 40 minutes, or if it's an hour, we summarize it in about 20 minutes. That's kind of the goal. And really selfishly, it's a way for me to revisit all these conspiracy videos that I haven't seen in a couple decades, just to see how they hold up.
Unselfishly, because you're getting that information, remastering it, and putting it back out to the people, which is important because you're consuming it and then you're filtering it for everybody else to listen to. I like to say that we're on training wheels here with conspiracies, because even though I'm doing deep dive research, you guys are only getting the freaking highlights. You guys are not getting all the little details and the names and the dates. Sometimes I have to go speak fast, and I only have 30 to 40 minutes on a show anyway. So I get what you're saying, bro. But that's a great idea. What's one of the most recent findings? Let me plug this thing in.
Well, so we've been recording 3 episodes every Sunday, and then I release them like one in a week. So we're already through November. So we just recorded last Sunday 3 different JFK documentaries. One of them was called Everything is a Rich Man's Trick, 9/11 and JFK. One of them was called JFK Revisited, which is by Oliver Stone, which it's him talking about all the other JFK conspiracy theories and his own movie. And then there was another one called JFK 2, The Bush Connection. So you can see like every batch of 3, they're usually all about like one thing. We had an Alex Jones month. We had a Michael Moore month. We have just like a straight up conspiracy month. And yeah, so this latest one was JFK month.
I want you to use this episode almost as a mini snippet trailer teaser. What are you gonna find on that first episode when you start dropping that stuff, bro?
Well, you can actually watch a few of them right now. I think we got like 3 or 6 different ones out. The one that just aired this week was The Conspiracy of Silence. Have you ever heard of this documentary?
No.
So, okay, this has got to be one of my highest rated documentaries of all time. If anyone's listening, write this down.
Wait up.
Look it up.
Conspiracy of Silence, bro. We're podcasters, bro. We can't be silent.
Conspiracy of Silence. Well, and it's ironic that it's called Conspiracy of Silence because it never saw the light of day. This has all of it checks all the conspiracy boxes, right? And one of the things that's the coolest about this particular documentary was that it was made by a group called Yorkshire Television, and they make documentaries. They made them for the Discovery Channel back in the 90s. So, I mean, and they weren't like a conspiratorial thing. This was just a thing that they did. They shot documentaries for large networks. And this one episode called The Conspiracy of Silence talked about trafficking humans through this place called Boys Town in Nebraska, which was a school for orphans and troubled boys. And that it got tied all the way up into the highest levels of the CIA, the White House, the media. It was kind of Jeffrey Epstein 1.0 back in the 90s. And the documentary itself was supposed to air in 1993. It's even in a TV guide from, I think, May of 1993. It says right there, History Channel, Yorkshire Television, Conspiracy of Silence. And then it got pulled by unknown figures. It just never saw the light of day. It was never aired on the History Channel. So now if you go and you search, or Discovery Channel, if you go and search on YouTube, you can find Conspiracy of Silence. You got to put 1993 or 1994 in there. Otherwise, you'll find a bunch of other unrelated crap. And man, it is just absolutely mind-blowing. And I actually had read the book that it was based on, which was the first conspiracy book that blew my socks off. Like, it went from caring about X-Files and aliens and, 432 versus 440 and, kind of like the
Mm,
fun stuff,
mhm.
all the way into, wait, politicians are doing what to kids? Like it was the first time that it got real dark real quick. And there was a moment in time when I almost felt like, okay, maybe I'm gonna turn away from this and go back to the fun alien stuff. Like, let's talk about what happened at Roswell or Area 51.
Mhm.
But I
Mhm.
couldn't shake it, man. I couldn't because there were so many deep implications of all this. So yeah, conspiracy is silence. I can't believe it even got as far as it did, regardless of the fact that it never aired.
It goes deep and it goes far back in time. So you're saying 1.1. I'm thinking even because MKUltra was almost the same thing, kind of picking people up from the streets, hobos, people that weren't loved. No one's gonna miss them, right? And using them, experimenting on them. But you're telling me it was a city? What state was this in?
It was in Nebraska, but it was an entire, you could call it a city called Boys Town, which was set up by a Catholic priest named Father
Perfect.
Flanagan. And
Mm.
before anyone starts like, oh, of course it's the Catholics and
Of
the yeah,
course.
no, like I mean, I did a deep dive on Father Flanagan, and as far as I can tell, even in the darkest recesses of the conspiracy world, there's not a lot of dirt on Father Flanagan. You can throw it like a dart in a room full of Catholic priests and probably hit
Uh,
someone that's got dirt. This is one of the few that seems to have been truly altruistic. He really did set up this entire community to help troubled kids and orphans. Well, I mean, he's dead now. He didn't, I think that he died in like the 70s or something. He started Boys Town and it started as a good thing. Then over time, it changed through different hands. It fell into neglect. And then at a certain point, it was just eating money. Like it was just a loss leader and no one wanted to touch it. So it went under the control of this guy named Lawrence E. King. And
mm.
Lawrence E. King is where all of this started. He ended up embezzling a whole bunch of money, getting a bunch of sweet contracts for all of his friends. But most importantly, he started identifying the problem children that lived in this boys' town and then started turning them into drug mules and Epstein stuff. I won't go into the details, but just imagine the darkest recesses of what Epstein did, and we're talking about an all boys orphanage. So, I mean, this is again, one of the darkest stories that you'll ever come across.
I am intrigued. I can't wait to go listen to that episode. But you know what, bro? The things have been happening, which I'm not saying that this priest was a saint or he was a bad guy or a good guy. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying these things have been happening, and now everybody has one of these. So it's easier to get caught doing it now. It's always happened at the same rate, or probably even more. But now because everybody has a freaking a camera phone and access to the internet and access to that information and putting it out immediately, copying it and reposting it, I think it's you see it more prevalent because people are watching it now. But I could only imagine
Maybe,
how
although
many
I
more
would
networks.
argue that if you found yourself on a boat headed towards Epstein Island, they probably got cell jammers. They probably got rooms that are padded like Faraday cages so that you can't get your technology
Damn.
to where. I mean, bro,
Yeah.
if you go to a Dave Chappelle stand-up comedian event, they take your phone from there too, or they make you put it in those little bags that it can't access the outside world, and they can walk up and down the aisles and make sure that no one's. So I mean, if they can do that at a Dave Chappelle stand-up show, then they could definitely do that at Epstein Island or in the Lolita Jet, the Lolita Express, or any other way that you want to traffic people.
They do that at McDonald's. I've never, dude, I live in LA, bro. Every building has Wi-Fi. I go to a McDonald's, even if I'm in a drive-through, my phone never has good service at McDonald's. I am forced. And then the little pop-up, do you want to connect to the Wi-Fi? Why? So you guys could get all my information? Fuck you.
What's going on at that McDonald's, bro? That they're trying to disconnect you from the world.
Why? Why only there? I tried doing it at Burger King. It works. I guess I don't have that tech. But McDonald's, bro, every single time I'm at the drive-through, religiously, bro, my service, I'm always trying to upload shit or download shit, nothing, bro. And yeah, so it's pretty crazy. I
They
believe
might
it
be playing
100%.
ping pong in the basement there. You don't know.
Ping pong is that code for like organ harvesting or
Yeah, that was the crux of Pizzagate. Remember that? It was about Comet Ping Pong in like this basement
oh,
that
you
may
just
or may
dropped that
not have
bomb.
existed. And
That's crazy, bro. Yeah, that may be happening in McDonald's. Every McDonald's though? You think they're all connected like Disney?
no, well, it's franchised, so I'm sure that there's at least one franchisee out there that has like a kill room under his McDonald's. There's got just
Holy
a
fuck.
numbers alone, right? Like there has to be at least one McDonald's franchisee serial killer. Like it would be statistically improbable for that not to be true.
Yeah, I hear you. 1000%. That's crazy, bro. So it's called Conspiracy of Silence. What
That's
else?
probably the darkest one. That's one of the more important. And then that was just the one that aired this week. They come out every Tuesday around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then we're gonna work our way through all the conspiracy stuff and then just do like fun music documentaries and true crime and sports and all that stuff. But I feel that my DNA is truly like rooted in conspiracy documentaries. So we're kind of
Mm.
going through all the heavy hitters.
You mentioned JFK in the beginning, and that just popped up in my head. What do you think these files? I have to bring it into this because I'm a Trump head, and I know it's not a political podcast. But do you think these files are gonna deliver any type of news instead of just a bunch of nothing burgers?
Maybe some that, but there's some really low hanging fruit. Like for example, it seems beyond obvious to anyone that looks into it now, no matter how skeptical or non-skeptical you are. One of the most obvious things is that JFK was shot from the front. He had an entrance wound in his neck. He had an entrance wound in his head. Now that's probably one of those things that will come out, but then when it's like, okay, well then who shot him? And then if the question becomes, well, what about the autopsy? How come the autopsy didn't show some of these entry wounds? And those specific details I don't think are going to come to light, or if they do, it'll just be acknowledged that there were anomalies or that there were discrepancies that should have been followed up, but they weren't. But when it comes down to and who orchestrated all this stuff, I feel like we're never going to get any of those answers because the people that were responsible for that, they still have political capital and political dynasties. Like I won't mention any specific Bush names, but like these very specific families, they still are in power enough to make it so that this won't come out. And I think originally it was supposed to be 2029. Trump claims that he pushed that up by like, 4 years or something. Not that big of a deal. It's not like it wasn't ever going to come out. And I just
Word.
feel like they're scrambling. They're just highlighting and redacting things faster now than they would have been if they had an extra 4 years to do it.
You're right. I'm not supposed now that we're on YouTube. I call it YouTube in June. Guys,
JuneTube, yeah.
June tube, bro. I have to say this. And even so, you have to think it's a generational thing. It's been hidden for a very long time, bro. So Donald Trump has 4 years to go through to expose this thing that has been open for what, 40 to 50 years? How long has it been? This freaking
Over
case?
50, yeah, 1963. So we're talking over 50 years at this point.
How many presidents and how many prime ministers have been involved in hiding this secret that the Jews did it and all this other stuff, right? It's a lot of information to be kept with a lot of other people that have been passed, and it's a generational thing, like I said. And I think like exactly what you said, they have enough power to seal it and say, all right, well, Mr. Donnie, whatever, all your people, if you guys want to release this information, get ready because we're gonna release a pathogen or get people sick or another COVID. Get ready for a shutdown, and they have enough power to do it. I think they just caught. Correct me if I'm wrong. Some Chinese patriots out here that they were trying to freaking smuggle in a chemical, like a chemical thing for our crops to get us sick and get cattle sick.
It was little like mold spores. So like, and a mold spore is basically like seeds ready to grow. So the idea was they were just going to unleash these mold spores in who knows where, probably some kind of agricultural center or food supply chain. Yeah, and I mean, it's so easy, man. If you think about it, look at how much of our public resources are based on the honor system. Like, we just trust that someone's not going to just start dumping chemicals into a nearby water supply,
Like
into
if they're not already.
municipality. And I mean, speaking of, man, one of the most interesting stories out of MKUltra from the 50s was that the CIA went to a small town in France called La Esprit, and they just dumped massive amounts of LSD in their water supply, and the entire town tripped out. And I mean, you could
Huh.
technically do that right now today. It's just that we don't have the same resources that the CIA did. They literally bought every dose of LSD on the planet at that time. If you had that much, then you could also do this yourself. So much of the world right now, right? It's like we're fragile, bro.
There was brought to my memory there's a conspiracy about the Salem Witch Trials. Same thing. That it wasn't that there was witches. It was that the town was going crazy because their crops were infected with this fungus that was making people delusional. And so it started spreading, but that was the epicenter. And that's why the hangings happened and people were talking to themselves and being all like schizophrenic and shit. Like if they were on a nasty meth come down.
Yeah, that's the ergot theory that the ergot is a fungus that grows on rye that essentially is equivalent to LSD.
Damn. Look at that. So the CIA has been doing it for a long time. No, I'm playing.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's been happening. It's a crazy stuff, man.
I mean, you could still say. I mean, obviously the CIA didn't exist back
Mm,
then, but I would argue that whenever you've got magic and drugs, then there's an intelligence agency somewhere there connecting those two things. Because
mm,
magic inherently tends to be secretive, and drugs also tend to be secretive. Either how to procure them, what their effects are, all of this usually is relegated to these small little cliques of people, and they
mm.
intentionally don't let the masses know about this stuff for who knows what reason. We could speculate all day, but I would argue,
Mm.
yeah, anytime mind altering drugs or magic are involved, you're gonna have a secret society of some kind or an intelligence network of some kind that is pulling the strings somewhere.
Wild. You think, but I mean, I was doing a deep dive on the old mix, and I did this presentation on broadcasting seeds. It came out pretty well. I was actually amazed because of my thick accent. It's just horrible. But I found out that, and just to put it in, to condense the information, they were tapping into an organic algorithm, and they were using their biometrics, blood sacrifice, to open frequencies in the earth, in Mesoamerica, in the Yucatan Peninsula. Just the same way that we use biometrics to access our phones and get the information out. They were putting information in. They were trying to upload themselves into the ether, directly into the pulsating heart of the earth. And this is my theory, right? And I was like, what the heck does that sound like? They were trying to avoid judgment. Who else used biometrics to take us out of this realm and take us to salvation? Jesus! Holy snap! Who is trying to take us from 3D to digital D, if that's even a dimension?
Well, and Heaven's Gate, you could make an argument.
So I'm thinking they want to put our consciousness, live forever in a digital realm. Bro, like, so if God made us in this simulation, we made AI in our image. So it's a cycle that never it's a self-imploding cycle, bro. You know what I'm saying? So this information has been handed down. We grab it, hand it down, and the next one hands it down, and so forth and so forth and so forth. So it's a thing that's been reoccurring. It's been happening for a very long time. The
Yeah,
magic.
we might be on a scary trajectory here, though, because it started out with human sacrifice, and then once culture felt like it was sophisticated enough and it had religion that was abstract enough, then they were like, okay, well, we can just sacrifice animals and not people now, or not. I mean, not children. It usually was like children, right? Because they represented like the best you could offer to God. So at a certain point, the Binding of Isaac, if you want to go into like the Judeo-Christian version, but almost every religion and culture historically has this moment when they were like, okay, we don't have to sacrifice people anymore. Now we can go and just do animals. And then on a long enough timeline, it's like, okay, we don't actually have to sacrifice animals now. Now I can just not eat Skittles for a month or something for Lent, and that's my version of sacrifice or whatever. Like, right? It keeps getting abstracted. But if AI is the next iteration, then I feel like AI is first going to be like, oh, I'll sacrifice other AI to like whatever it thinks its God is. But then it's going to be like, oh, I need to evolve. I'm going to just sacrifice people now, and then it's going to go to animals, and then it's going to go to something more abstract. But we're kind of caught in this chain, right? Like the second that AI decides it has its own gods and that those gods need sacrifices, I feel like we're going to be considered as an offering.
Have you heard of AGI?
Yeah, yeah, this is just the AGI means general AI as opposed to like ChatGPT is really good at text and like Midjourney is really good at images and VO3 or Kling is really good at video and Suno's good at audio. AGI is when there's just a AI model that can do all of that stuff better than they can each do individually. And once that happens, I mean, I'm of the impression that we won't know it. Like we'll be so slow that we won't realize that it has already been part of our world for probably like a decade or something. Because the original thing was the Turing test, and the Turing test isn't even really scientific. It's subjective based on the person and the technology. But you can oversimplify it to say that the Turing test is, can you determine if you're talking to a human being or to a computer? And I feel that ChatGPT has already proven that there's plenty of people that don't realize that they're talking to AI either online or like an audio or watching a video. They already don't realize that. So that means we've blown past the Turing test probably a decade ago. And the next iteration of that is going to be this like synchronicity or singularity. And that's another version where by the time you're like, oh, I think maybe this is singularity, that means it's already been here.
Bam. I know I've seen so many videos of people talking about it's always been here. We're just uncovering it and tapping into it. Nothing new under the sun. That's intense, bro. My imagination gets blown. I can't even fathom it anymore, bro. You know? And it's biblical too. And guys, I'm not saying this because I'm a Christian or anything. No, I'm just saying it's been told. It's you won't be able to see what's true and what's not, what's fake, like the days of Noah, gene splicing, genetic engineering, illnesses. Everybody's freaking. We're the sickest country in the freaking planet. It's just, and we're in the top 1%. The poorest person in the United States is in the 1%. So it's just annoyingly accurately.
And not just that, another weird thing to think about is that the poorest person, well, I guess not the poorest person, but you just take someone from like the lowest class possible and compare the conveniences and resources that person has compared to, say, a king in the 1400s, right? Even if you were balling out as a king, you couldn't just pop over to McDonald's and get some hot chicken nuggets whenever you wanted and then go into an air-conditioned store and then pop over here and grab like a bottle of mango juice. If you were a king in the 1400s, bro, like you don't have access to any of those. You don't have central AC, you don't have indoor plumbing, you can't pop in a frozen pizza. So I mean, obviously they had resources and they could live quote unquote like a king, but their version of living like a king was probably nowhere near as comfortable as someone that would consider themselves lower class today, which it's a weird paradox.
Whoa. And guys, I like to keep these short, but today there was big highlights, and one of them is going to be, with your permission, is going to be the name of this episode, The Conspiracy of Silence with Paranoid American. That is something long. It's going to be useful. I think it's information that you guys should be able to digest, especially if you're listening to the show for this long already. And if you have checked him out, you know what he's about. Truth bomber, bringing in a lot of information, depositing into the bank of knowledge. Make sure you check him out. Where can people find you, bro?
ParanoidAmerican.com is the best place. Paranoid American on Instagram. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Rumble. I'm on Twitter. And I'm on Amazon. So if you like to put your money directly into the heart of the beast, you can just search Paranoid American on Amazon. Get that free Prime shipping. Send it to your grandparents for Christmas, whatever. I got some great stuff on there for the normies. And then once the normies get into the fold, then I can start telling about conspiracy asylums and JFK assassination and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But we started out easy. We started them out on like a cryptids coloring book or something fun.
That's freaking amazing. I mean, who doesn't like UFOs and dinosaurs, right? That's how you get them hooked.
That is how you get it. That's how I got hooked. I got hooked on like X-Files and cartoons in the 90s.
Yeah. And don't you ever badmouth Jurassic Park. That is the most accurate movie in the freaking planet, right? And Star Wars, obviously.
And I mean, Westworld. You got to throw Westworld in there too.
Yeah, I like it. Yo, everybody, make sure you check out Paranoid American. Guys, he's a good friend of mine. He's been here on the show a couple of times, and he has amazing content, amazing work. And again, make sure you check him out. Drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, because that allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. Peace. Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you.